Hi everyone, it's Dr. Katrina Mattingly, and I'm here to talk about current events for this week. So it's taken me a while to make this video because today's probably the first day where I haven't cried literally all day for the past week or so. In terms of what's going on, a lot of you know I live here in Chicago. I attended a silent protest today, or I like to call it a silent march, with a bunch of healthcare professionals. So I have my t-shirt on. Thanks, Mom, which was very well received. And it was a pretty good day. So my neighborhood here in Chicago was pretty much in shambles when we went out Sunday morning. Saturday night was by far the scariest night I've ever had in Chicago, and I've been here for 12 years. There were sirens, lights, motorcycles, yelling, helicopters nonstop all night long. I finally was able to go to bed maybe around midnight, and then one of my kids woke up and said, "Mom, I can't sleep. There's too many fire trucks. The fire trucks are waking me up." So here's my thoughts on what's going on. So first of all, I understand why people are angry and people are frustrated. This is years and years of pent up frustrations and experiences and feeling like you're not being heard. And it culminated, unfortunately, in a lot of acts of aggression and destruction. But that's not to overlook the fact that somebody lost their life over something that was pretty trivial in the grand scheme of things. And that's what's really more important. Windows can be replaced and merchandise can be replaced. Lives cannot be replaced. With that being said, though, there are a lot of people whose livelihoods are in their businesses. Maybe some of these larger big box stores who were able to stay open during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns will do okay. Some of the mom and pop businesses in our neighborhoods that are struggling to stay afloat and were excited about being able to reopen now can't do that because they've got to replace their merchandise, they've got to repair their buildings, and they've got to gather the pieces and put them back together again. So those folks are probably the ones that are hurting the most right now. We did have some vandalism here at the building I live in and one of my outpatient clinics as well. You can probably hear now the sirens and the fire trucks and police cars going. We've had National Guard out on and off in the city. The bridges were raised for a while. It was hard to get into a neighborhood. They had secured off an area around downtown, as you can see. So I want to talk real quick about the destruction of the neighborhoods as well. So I'm all about peaceful protest. It's our right here in America. Our marches, if you don't like the word protest, it's protected. What it has been so disheartening is the looting, the vandalism, the agitators, and people who are creating violence in our neighborhoods. When you come outside of your neighborhood or in your neighborhood, you destroy the small businesses that are the backbone of that neighborhood. You're destroying economic opportunities for people in your neighborhood, which leads them to despair, which leads them to do things like allegedly pass off a $20 bill to maybe try to get some food. You're also perpetuating the stereotypes that law enforcement has used traditionally and historically to use to control us, or to use aggressive measures to quote unquote kind of keep us in place. So it's not helping. It's not helping whatsoever. All it's going to do is lead to more suspicion and a greater loss of life. And that's the tragedy of this all. It's all interconnected. So I encourage you, don't beat up your neighborhoods. Don't beat up other people's neighborhood. It leads to more economic despair, and it leads to more violence down the long and more useless and senseless loss of life. I hope everybody is doing okay out there. COVID, probably the virus, I'm sure feels like it had a great weekend. You know, between not so much the peaceful protesters who were separated, but the clashes and the close proximity that a lot of people found themselves in is the perfect breeding ground for COVID. We've got the fact that everybody was on lockdown, the fact that everybody's in economic despair right now, the fact that we've got a lot of political polarizing and division, and these things created the perfect storm for what we saw over the past weekend. So I want everyone out there to be safe. Remember the things that we talked about. Remember that you can make a difference. okay? It starts with sitting down and having a conversation and utilizing your mind before you act out in ways that you may later on regret, okay? We're all in this together. Coronavirus is still here. Minorities, Black people, you can't change anything about yourselves or any other minorities. You are who you are. You were born into the skin that you have. So we've got to try to find ways to bridge the gap between us and others and law enforcement and civilians to keep ourselves at peace and keep ourselves moving forward. All right, I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.